Welcome to the Wrap-Up, a VR live stream focused on keeping you up to date with the adoption of universal profiles and growth of the new creative economy. Join us as we uncover the fusion of technology, artistry, and innovation that's redefining how we create, share, and experience in this digital age. It's time to wrap it up. Welcome back to the Wrap-Up. Today's October 6th, 2023. Before we dive into today's topics, take a moment to click that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps a ton and ensures that you don't miss any of our upcoming content on this channel. Alt, how are you?
Doing good, buddy. Good to see you. Little fist bump. There you go. All right. Yeah, good to see you, fam, out there in the multiverse. Hope the universe is treating you well today. I'm gonna throw out a quote from Alan Watts. The only way to make sense of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. So we appreciate you guys joining this dance with us today. And don't discount your ability to shape the future in real time.
I like that, Alan Watts. And I will not miss out on the opportunity to find coupons that I can redeem for value in my life. I appreciate that, Alts, right? Don't discount your ability to shape your future in real time. Be on the hunt for the coupons, friends. Okay. Today, top stories. We've got Fabian at the Crypto Valley Summit. Very interesting. I think there's a lot of alpha that comes out of those talks. In fact, we got 3 videos queued up for you. But before we get there, let's have a few words from our sponsors and friends over at LEEQUID. LEEQUID is a liquid staking solution purposely built for the LUKSO blockchain. Users can stake LYX tokens and in return, earn receipt SLYX tokens redeemable 1-to-1 for the deposited LYX. LEEQUID notably offers flexibility, allowing users to opt in or out of staking at any moment via the protocol's liquidity pool. This feature removes the potentially extensive wait times typically associated with traditional staking methods. With the support of advisors and multi-signatories from the LUKSO team, LEEQUID is steadfast in its commitment to achieving decentralization from the beginning, underlining transparency and trust. Following a thorough audit by consensus, LEEQUID is set to launch in October, integrating suggestions to ensure a seamless and secure user experience. Don't forget to follow LEEQUID on Twitter to stay updated on opportunities for earning passive rewards and contributing to the security of the LUKSO blockchain.
Nice. Very nice. Shout out LEEQUID. We're inching closer and closer every day to being able to get some liquid staking with our licks. So super excited for that. Now, if you don't know, there was some activity at CB Summit. Seems like the fam there got a major dose of pink pills. Like he said, we got a few clips queued up. Let's take a look at the first one.
Fabian with Vitalik put forward the ERC20 standard, which led to the big ICO bubble, but something wasn't quite right. He realized that this standard wasn't quite perfect, so why are they broken? What doesn't work about them anymore?
Why is ERC20 broken? Most of the standards that we have in the Ethereum space is somewhat related to ERC20. There was a need for tokens. It was done very quickly. The space was very young, so you couldn't really think out all the possibilities and all the problems that could arise and how to optimize things. So it was the MVP of how you do things. So obviously that needs to be improved, right? We have all of this blockchain space with $2 trillion market cap at peak, and we still have barely users. I think obviously there's something very fundamental missing. We're still all relying on so-called wallets, on a single public key with a single password that we can't change. That's the reason why things haven't even been moving forward. When we started the idea of creating a blockchain specifically more for the ordinary, less technical user, one thing that became very clear is that we need a better way of how we interact with blockchain.
We've got, if Fabian was an Autobot, he'd be Swagtimus Prime with that collar popped like that. I mean, he was looking good on stage. He was definitely looking good on stage. And I love the fact that he basically called the ERC20 on Ethereum a minimum viable product. That's hilarious.
Oh, I mean, ERC20 did lead to that, the big ICO boom, which, it led into DeFi and NFTs as we know them, right? But like everyone's so excited about the concept back then. They just like they just ran with it. And Fabian was like, hey guys, just wait a second, wait up. This needs to be more sustainable. They just like bolted and started minting shit, you know, like, but yeah, lucky for us, like Fabian immediately started thinking about how to make the standards built more for the future and mass adoption, right?
Is that like when you're trying to work on something with wheels and it's slightly on a hill and you're like, all right, let me play. You know, you're trying to strap into your snowboard and you're on a hill, and before you know it, you're going down the hill. Like, wait a minute, I didn't try to start this.
You put the wheels on last.
Mincing metaphors with wheels and snowboards, but I get the idea here. It kind of ran away from them, right? They were just trying to solve a problem quickly and experiment, and people built $2 trillion worth of value on top of it. Wowzers.
I mean, super fast, right? I mean, but it just shows you what an iconic, you know, idea and concept ERC20 was at that time, you know. So, and we're literally just kind of on the precipice of that next giant earth-shattering, you know, evolution in blockchain.
Yeah, it's a lot of the development between cycles goes on in the dark, and then all of a sudden the bull market comes around and we do this like step function where we just shoot up to another level, and it certainly feels like that's going to happen with LUKSO here.
Yeah, I think we're like already on that next step, and we're just kind of looking down at the fam like, come on, we're trying to throw them ladders, like pink pill ladders, and people just, most of them aren't climbing up it yet.
Oh God, pink pill branded ladders.
Yeah, but no, it still blows my mind, you know, how far ahead of the curve, you know, this LUKSO team and Fabian have been, you know, since the beginning in the early Ethereum days. He already knew, man. It's still so crazy. But yeah, we got another clip queued up. Let's take a look.
What is different in the vision of what you're building at LUKSO?
LUKSO is a new L1. It's a new blockchain. It works fundamentally the same way like Ethereum 2, but the foundational building blocks are new. We have redone ERC20, we redone ERC721, improving on those a lot in order to make them more flexible, give them more ability to host metadata that's smart contract readable and a better interaction flow. We call them LSP, LUKSO Standard Proposals. They are the improved token standards, and they are the primitives that people are building on. The most fundamental piece is actually ERC725 account, also called LSP0. That's your smart contract account. And that smart contract account is literally the solution to all the problems the space has today. Look under the hood and you see how it works and what it does. You will realize very quickly that this is an extremely powerful account standard that allows you to build a lot of new things and allows you to even have a proper UX and onboarding. I have a magic wand.
Man, yeah, that is so. I love how he says LSPs are designed to solve literally every problem out in the space today. If you're active in blockchain today, you realize the ongoing issues, right? And the need to moving things on chain, you know, whether it's account abstraction, relay services, social recovery, AI issues, bots, like all the scams, like better security, better UX, all these things, right? Like literally LSPs are designed to just solve it all, right? Like LUKSO choosing to be an EVM L1 like is such a big win because it's such a wonderful approach. We get to adapt anything that ETH ever builds while kind of floating above them on that next step, right? With these groundbreaking standards that are more forward thinking and sustainable and upgradable. It's just the best of both worlds.
Yeah. And I'll just add in here, LUKSO is an L1. And I think Fabian said during the meetup, like, it's amazing that it even worked to launch a network decentrally across all of us, I guess. I can't censor myself, dipshits around the world, right? Like we somehow, some way this new L1 got off the ground. We'll go over it in the staking, in the network update, but we're over 70,000 validators, which is really what was spec'd out in the blueprint for the new creative economies like a long time ago. You know, you're saying upwards of 70,000 validators. We're there in a couple months. Like, great job. And, there will always be the critiques. Why didn't you make an L2? The team has been very forthright with their explanation. The reason why it's an L1 is because we needed a standard space that was quiet enough. So the fundamental standard of LSP0, right, which is that ERC725 account, which has been, I guess, worked on and perfected for the use here on the LUKSO network. Everything that comes after that is a standard that's meant to be plugged into or used with the LSP0. So to have that new standard space, now you don't have all the noise on all these other ideas coming in. You kind of can see how everything works together. And then, the community will absolutely come in with ideas and principles and whatever is that should be added to the ecosystem. And like you said, Alts, whatever is being developed on the network side, right? If at some point they choose to enshrine liquid staking on Ethereum, well, that's a choice that LUKSO can make over here. If they choose to enshrine some other aspect of the protocol over on Ethereum, and when I say Ethereum, I mean like the Ethereum L1 that people would think about, but really it's an entire Ethereum ecosystem, which includes LUKSO, then, we'll get the benefits from it. I think it's, these guys are smart. And does it look like Fabian's concerned in these videos, Alts?
No, it looks like a man who has seen the future for several years and is just like watching everyone play catch up. That's pretty much what it looks like to me.
Is that ketchup spelt with a K, or is it catch up or cats up?
And it's like potato, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We do have a third video queued up here, so let's check that one out.
How does the journey on LUKSO look different to what it might be on Ethereum?
First off, you don't need to remember seed phrase. The device that you use to control your profile first is a replaceable device. So you can have multiple devices controlling this profile. They all have their own private key, but your account is the singular thing that they both control. You can have different levels of permission, which is what you need if you have multiple devices or different applications that control your profile. You have a gasless user experience. That means a third party can pay for your transaction fees, giving you a very seamless onboarding. This is the main hurdle that we had so far. Where do I get the token for the gas? And do I need to remember this crazy thing here called seed phrase with this massive warning that if you don't remember this right now and write it down? So these are the two main factors that are removed. But it also has information that you can attach to it. So it can look like a profile. It can look like, anything you want it to look like.
Makes me think of MySpace, but the 2023 version.
And in fact, there is a website called universal.page where you can log in with your universal profile, and then you can actually create your own custom MySpace-like website for your profile.
Alts, there's like a lot of younger participants in this ecosystem. Oh, I just smacked my head on the mic. Younger participants in the ecosystem that might not have used MySpace, or they might have some type of pejorative like stance towards MySpace because they're using iterations of social media that have gone down the line here. But what I can say is that like MySpace was actually really fun to use. And what we've seen in the social media space is that you have a lot of companies built like basically competing to build monolithic solutions, right? Like you have your team and you've got to build the perfect social media to try to get users in there. The way that this is structured and why it's actually kind of fun, what the host says, this like MySpace, but 2023, and Fabian doesn't say it in this clip, but he does allude to it in this interview. You can actually take the universal profile or the universal page, which is again a D app that's built to customize certain elements of having a profile, and then you can start to bolt on these solutions, so you get a lot of competition. Or if we don't want to think of bolt, think of Lego bricks, like snapping Lego bricks onto your universal profile, where you can have a follower system and a reputation system. You could have a feed. You can have all this stuff, and instead of that, again, monolithic platform where we're going to jump from MySpace to Facebook to, who knows, Snapchat. Instead, I just have my profile and you build something really cool that allows me to be social. I can snap it on there and use it. I think that is cool. That's what I pulled out of that.
That's such a great distinction, Eth. Instead of like, because that's kind of the evolution of, so social media in general, right? Like for the older generations, we kind of first started dabbling at MySpace, which was really cool because it's like you got to curate your page a whole lot more with obnoxious stuff, right? With music and backdrops and all these things that didn't really exist on other platforms. They got more streamlined just for, ease of use, I guess. But what you see is this evolution where it was like, okay, everybody goes to MySpace and they kind of play around and dabble. And then Facebook, oh, it's cleaner and easier. Okay, and everybody moves there. Then everybody moves here. And then now it's kind of like siloed off into all these different platforms, right? But it was more like you just kind of, community just moved from one to another, right? As these things get developed. But what we're going to see now is like, okay, build this profile with these building blocks, and then you can just choose to plug that into whatever you want, right? You don't have to necessarily just pick up and move everything to some new platform and then just start building there. No, you just continue to build in your profile, and then you just connect to whatever it is that you want to interact with. It's just a whole nother level, which allows, like, of course, decentralization, right? That's one of the main issues with social media today, is all these platforms that you're building on. You don't own any of your content or your assets or your profile. They can just delete you, at the flip of a coin for no reason. It doesn't even really matter. So yes, I think that's such a big distinction that people just haven't really quite wrapped their mind around yet. Even in, Web3 that we see now with like OpenSea and things like that, like those aren't those accounts they're centralized as well, right? It needs to be decentralized at the core level. And I think with, alluding to the ease of use, like, the internet, once it became so easy, and email and things like that became just so easy that anyone can do it, like you saw this massive wave of adoption and use cases just exploded out of that, and the network effect just went parabolic. But I think you're about to see that with blockchain too, right? Because we're going to finally be able to give them some better building blocks. And I love that, like you mentioned, kind of saving some of the heart attacks of these, like you mentioned, like the alert that comes up and you're scared and you're terrified, because it's a scary process to go through the crypto UX, right? And to do all this stuff yourself. So we're saving, we kind of took the brunt of it for future generations. They just don't know it.
Yeah. And, I want to add something here before we move on. I was thinking of this, and it's not a novel thought, and people have said it before, but I feel like compelled to say it now. If I was to build a Web2 social media right now, I've got to go find users, right? Like I've got to onboard all these people. Like you've got to create a profile. You got to you got to make a password, which maybe like Fabian said with a sheepish smile, we use the same password for everything, right? Maybe that's why so many people get hacked, right? Because you're constantly giving out personal information that you really don't want to. And maybe secure way, depends on like the person who built the platform that you're using. Anyway, the point being, you got to go find users. In this case here, once someone has a universal profile, they are a user of every single platform effectively. Like they don't have to sign up. They just click go, like log in, boom, and I'm a user of your platform. That captive user base, if you're a developer, you're like, oh man, if there's however many universal profiles there are, that's how many users that are potentially there that can use my system easily. And then I guess what I'll add to that would be, with all of those captive users, you start to get this, like, it's almost like the network starts to feel alive, alts, right? Like it has its own life force to it. Like it's like beating, and it's not, I guess, transactional. You don't have to even pay to use the ecosystem early on. So I think it's really going to be lively. It'll have a life of its own.
For sure. And that, and in that method, it allows us as the users to actually build something our own, right? We just continue to stack on top of our own on-chain reputation and build out our identity, right? Instead of having to go to a MySpace, build there for a couple of years, and then just abandon that to go build somewhere else, to then abandon that, right? Like it's a new journey and evolution that just doesn't ever stop. And I love that you said, it's alive. Yes, it brings up our next tweet actually from Louis. LUKSO feels alive. Our community is incredible. VC-backed chains couldn't even pay for what we have. That is a very true statement. We are super organic, right? Like, I know it would have been a lot easier to pump, right, the price, if that's what you're concerned about, right? If we were a VC funded, they buy their way onto exchanges, pay for market manipulators, makers, right, to inject some liquidity, to pay for shield groups, et cetera, et cetera. But that pump would be short-lived and honestly pale in comparison to the organic network effect pump, right? Like CETH back in the day, right? It's a completely different dynamic. Plus, I think the model's changed. We're in this oversaturated market with like 30,000 tokens now, and it's something absurd, where I think you're going to actually need to offer something way more special to get adopted and for people to actually pay attention, right? I think when we see that next big bubble in crypto, in blockchain, I think the projects that are actually able to offer value and groundbreaking tech, those are going to like become the blue chips that actually make it out alive, right? So yeah, I think it's been longer, but in that time, like, man, made so many good friends like yourself, and we get to build together with this amazing community. We get to vibe. We get to build things like KEEZ and MetaHeads and play and have adventures and all those amazing projects on the eco map is like just scratching the surface, right? And all this, we're just getting to do all this stuff while it's quiet, which is not a bad thing. And I've gotten to stack a lot more than I ever would have, right? If it was some sort of VC pump thing a couple of years ago. Because by design, they want to have like a VC funded wants to have that insider approach, right? Where they kind of pump their own bags and then they move on to the next one, right? Works for them, but not necessarily everybody else. Whereas with LUKSO, we've really had to earn it, as holders becoming patient, right? But it's going to be so much sweeter in the end because of it. I think the fundamentals, like if you just pay attention to the fundamentals, they've only gotten better every single day.
Yeah, the fundamentals are getting better every day. And if you're looking for signal in all of the noise that is going on here, let's look at this next tweet from Fabian. Fabian says, I feel we broke CV Labs view count on their tweets for the CV Summit. Each one of the tweets from CV Summit was getting like, he says approximately 500 views. And I know you can't see it. It's clipped. This tweet yesterday had over 20,000 views on it. The tweet about LUKSO from CV Summit. I mean, we are, the community here is alive. It's pretty rabid. And each one of us as community members, when we create a universal profile, we immediately take the network effect that we've built across Twitter, Discord, Telegram, or any other social that you may be connecting in right now. And we're going to take that energy and move it directly into universal profiles and whatever's available for us natively to interact with each other on chain. We know that Common Ground will be building a social implementation there, but there definitely will be others. And all of that energy is just going to be unleashed in this new playground. And I think that that is awesome.
Yeah, I love it. You said rabid. Like I imagine this like pink army is just like drew like a pink foaming at the mouth, like we need more pink pearls. I mean, it's no surprise everyone ravaged that tweet, for the pink pill alpha. Like the funny thing is we're literally just like getting started and it's still in this like sideways market, right? Just wait till we're up and running full steam and the market's actually turned bullish. Like the amount of engagement, it's going to go exponential as well. And it's going to be a lot of fun because, we're here at the ground level. So the amount of people watching this will go on from, I don't know, end up getting a few hundred views to it might be a few thousand or who knows, like it's going to hopefully be a lot more, right?
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a lot more soon. I think it will. This is a very, very sticky project. I think people recognize internally, even if they can't articulate it, that there's an authenticity here. There's an authenticity to the founding team. There's an authenticity to all of the support staff that works there. There's an authenticity to the community. It's tough in a time like this where the market isn't giving us like the reassurances by the price going up that you're in the right location right now. But again, if you're looking for signal across all this noise, just go and find this tweet, click on it in the description on the YouTube channel, and you can reference. It was far over 20,000 views on this tweet, and just measure it against projects like Definity or Polygon, who spoke at this same conference and had very, very little engagement on those tweets. Not to say that Polygon or Definity or any other network solution that's out there isn't good. It's just to say, going back to Louis' point, there's a heartbeat in this LUKSO ecosystem, right? And how do you measure the authenticity of a project? Well, here's an indicator for you.
Well, in this project is vibrant, right? And it's really coming like it's like the sleeping dragon. It's really starting to wake up at just the right time, which is really, really cool. But yeah, of course, like the markets haven't reacted yet. So yeah, let's speaking of that, let's see what's happening with Up Into the Chop.
In Up Into the Chop, we provide a weekly review of the markets from a LUKSO perspective. We present a range of prices from the lowest to the highest, and then we give the prevailing price at the time of broadcast. Moreover, we provide a summary of the market cap, comparing the existing framework with our market cap goal. Right now, we're aiming for a humble top 100, and then we'll give you the associated price point to be in the top 100. So you can see that almost looks a little bit more up and to the right. I don't know if Rob clipped that to just make me feel better this morning, but you can see our 7-day low was 513, 7-day high 550, and we were pretty much on it at the time that we took this clip. Our current market cap is 158 million. To be in the top 100 in the current market structure, we need to be at 268, which would give us a token price of about $9.24. The fact of the matter is, I think if we had a little deeper liquidity and we weren't split across the ERC20 LUKSE token and the mainnet LUKS token, with obviously some real hurdles for, let's say, the US market, I think that we would probably be at the $9.24 right now. That might be a bold prediction. So if you got a problem with that, feel free to hit me up and we can discuss it in comments. But I really feel like we'd be there.
I'll be in your DMs later to talk about that, Heath. No, but I mean, yeah, it feels like, I mean, we're less than a double up away from the top 100. And then that's whenever he kind of just signals that next level of awareness in the ecosystem in general of people trying to find and discover LUKSO, right? But yeah, look, I mean, it still feels like at these prices, like not financial advice, never financial advice, but it feels like the universe is offering us a coupon, a discount code to snag some more cheap LUKSO.
Yeah, I do love coupons and I like being able to find them. So if you, again, in this signal, finding signal in all the noise, if you're looking for more signal, then check out this tweet from Fabian, who says he believes what he says.
Yeah, that was a clip that I put together from one of his chats. Let's actually take a listen to that first and see what Fabian has to say.
In my opinion, this will be one of the biggest ecosystems and blockchains in the top 10. Absolutely. That's my personal perspective. Because we are solving exactly the problem that everybody has, which is how do you get users on the blockchain? It's an unsolved problem because nobody is innovating on the core level. Everybody just tries to go with ERC20 and then they build an app on top. But that don't solve the fundamental levels. And the fundamental levels are the ones which are problematic. Actually, we built, since 5 years, I'm thinking about this, and since 3 years, we're literally building all the tech out in detail to have these foundations that we have now. These foundations will go a long way and they will be much more influential than what we have right now. And you get a lot more users in. So where I see LUKSO is, it will be the foundation for decentralized social media. It will be the foundation for the NFT space, obviously, the creator space. YouTubers will use it, musicians will use it, artists will use it, VR games will use it. It will be the foundation. It will be the Ethereum for the next generation user. And you could call it Ethereum just fancy.
Ethereum just fancy. Yes, that is exactly where we're headed. Man, hearing Fabian phrase it like that in the top 10, like you don't even have to even imagine price, right? Forget about price. That's just like, just think about the kind of network effect and growth that you would see, like if we were in the top 10, when we get into the top 10, right? Like it feels inevitable, but like as the tweet there, Fabian launched it, I laughed at the memes, but more importantly, like he said, he believes what he says, and we have faith in the team, and they have faith in their vision. They have not faltered from that one bit.
Yeah, they have not faltered from it at all. And you can't discount, again, the messages that are coming out from the team. They're there. You just have to find them. There's signal in all the noise. Responding to a LUKSO tweet, Fabian actually said, there's a good chance that we will have universal profiles live in October, right? But he says, no promise. And there's a reason for that, right?
Yeah. He did say October could be upon us, but we did get some further clarification actually in the Discord as well, because they already know how crazy and rabid we are sometimes running with the speculation nation, right? But he did say to clarify that the aim is for the end of October, could be run into mid-November, depending on how long it takes. But obviously it could take even longer if it takes some time to finish the recovery system for mainnet, but it sounds like they're kind of in final steps. But they expect it sooner than later. So, curb your expectations as always, but, be ready for when the ship takes off, because it's going to be fun. We're going to start having fun at the drop of a hat once those ups go live.
Yeah, I keep telling my brother, don't discount. And I mentioned my brother because he is the largest fudder in my life. I mean, he loves LUKSO, but he likes calling me up and being like, hey, Eth, what would be great on the wrap up if you could find developers who don't actually know anything about LUKSO and get them to come on there and talk about the tech. Maybe they'll shred it. I don't know. I want to hear it. And I'm like, Mike, so here's the deal. The team is actually going to developer conferences and trying to find these developers right now, right? Mike, if you're listening to this, I love you, man. I love you, but I got to bring it up. He'd be a great voice actually, because he is like that counterpoint to what some people would say, optimism. I don't think that Alt and I are blind optimists. I just think that we know where we are, we know why we're here, and we're going to choose at this stage in the race to focus on the fact that I don't want to say the end, let's call it the end of the beginning is almost upon us, right? Now wouldn't be the time to get cold feet.
Right. Yeah. This seems like the worst time to get cold feet, But what do they say? It's like the darkest just before the dawn, which isn't really actually accurate. It's probably like the middle of the night is the darkest, but it's a saying and it's appropriate.
I'd like to hear you actually take someone to task the next time they're like, it's always darkest before the dawn.
I'm always that guy that wants to do that. I usually have to abstain from it, right?
Oh, good God.
And they're like, I could care less. And it's like, oh, wait, so you do care. You're actually saying the opposite of what you intended by that.
The one that gets me too is irregardless. No, it's regardless. Sorry. Send all the hate mail to onlyaltanonymous@gmail.com. So anyway, if you are hanging out in the chat right now, say hi. And, if you think that we're going to have a mainnet date that is anything other than we mentioned, and by mainnet, I mean mainnet ups, throw it in the chat and we'll get Landon to throw it up there.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
to see when everyone thinks we're getting these mainnets on up. Advanced Ethereum. Jello, I love that.
Thanks, Jello. Otherwise, let's go to the network update. If you watch the show a lot, we start with the LUKSO staking launchpad. You can see we've got over 2.2 million LUKS in staking contracts right now. That's over 70,000 validators with a yield of about 10.3%. Still pretty tasty yield given that we have 70,000 validators. You got to like to see that. Although with the opening of the liquid staking protocols and KEEZ is, what do I want to say? Our friends over at LEEQUID, our preferred staking solution. That's what I was trying to say. I could see that number of validators going up and also then the yield going down. But that's an okay thing because we're going to see this stabilize at some point.
For sure. That's the trade-off we want to see happen.
Without a doubt. Moving on to LUKS.tools or Lux.tools, generously sponsored by our friend Vlad Lakonis, who does this out of the goodness of his heart. Vlad, thank you for building a community good. Again, you can see over 70,000 validators with the validator queue of about 1 minute right now, meaning if you were trying to get a validator online, now would be a great time because you really wouldn't have to wait that long.
Super quick. The line is short. Gotta love it.
Yep, super quick. Line is long. Line is short. Sorry, I was already reading the next section. Vlad, thank you. Moving on. We've got a thread from LUKSO. LUKSO says account abstraction is often mentioned as essential for blockchain growth. However, one critical aspect lacking in many of the current blockchain accounts is storage. Let's explore the significance of storage and how universal profiles effectively utilize it. A thread. I don't know who writes these threads, but they do a great job, honestly. Some quick talk, like just hitting the high notes on this thing before I turn it over to alts. Talking points in this thread, right? Account abstraction is essential for blockchain growth, and that current blockchain accounts just lack adequate storage capabilities. Universal profiles are coming online as a solution. They make Web3 accounts as user-friendly as Web2. Universal profiles can store diverse information to enhance decentralization. And with universal profiles, you can have direct control over that universal profile with the browser extension at first, but then the iOS and Android for mobile extensions that are or apps that are coming. They go over storage dynamics and blockchain, security and accessibility, reactivity and transactions by your universal profile, and then the adaptability and flexibility of the profile. This is a great thread. You should check it out from LUKSO's official Twitter. Alt, do you have anything to add to that? Because I could really go through it here, but I think I prefer to send people to this tweet.
Yeah, I think so too. It's a lot to digest. It's very thorough. So I highly recommend checking it out. It's a great thread. But yeah, I just wanted to say like that the UX, it's been the same since day one, since blockchain, went live. And we see this right now. We see a small percentage of people that are willing to go through this myriad of steps and obstacles to actually use blockchain as it is today, right? But with this full account abstraction, you can actually usher in true mass adoption, right? You can see a whole new sector of people, come in for this new creative economy, right? And how much easier is it going to be to onboard the average person when you can do the entire process for them on the back end and they don't even know they're using this amazing tech, right? Like, we aren't asking the average person to come learn all these new steps and take on a ton of responsibility. Like, no, I just allow them to plug in and use the Web3 accounts that are just as easy as their Web2 accounts, right? Like, that's kind of the key thing, I think, for all of it.
Yeah, Fabian said this is like a playground, right? When people find that they can just come and play around, they don't need the Lux, they don't need the gas token to actually make transactions. There's going to be a relayer that's going to pay for this stuff. The team's going to subsidize it early on. I don't know about you, but like, if there's no cost to playing around, that incentivizes me to do a lot of playing around, and hopefully it'll incentivize you as a potential user to do a lot of playing around as well. And that is the point of universal profiles, is we are abstracting away a lot of the stuff you don't want to have to know about, right?
For sure. Yeah. It's going to be a big, giant pink sandbox. So it's going to be fun to play around and experiment. So yeah, I think we're going to see a ton of people coming in to do just that, right? While it's free and easy. And then they're going to get addicted. They're going to get addicted to this suite of tools that are like so much simpler and more, forward thinking. And yeah, because then you can truly imagine, like, whatever your imagination can come up with, you can build with these standards, which is really the great part. But you know what else is a really fun playground? Twitter and Pink Tweets. First up, we've got one from Pink Flux. Diversification doesn't make sense if you know what you're doing. I gotta agree with that one. Kings just buy LYX. Kings don't diversify. Happy Sunday, Kings of LUKSO, Kings of Crypto. This is a beautiful pink king.
Yeah, that's a pink king. And the Pink Flux is not a financial advisor. What you hear in this podcast is just our opinion, or the opinion of anons that we choose to highlight here. We're not experts. If you need
Never
specific
financial advice.
ask someone who's a professional in that area. Figure I'd add that disclaimer here.
Yeah, that's great. We just need to have it at the bottom of the screen always.
Not financial advice. Buy Lux. Yeah, I love this one. I like the aesthetic of this. I really do. I like the fact in the Pinkest Tweet, if this is your first time ever engaging with the program, that we go out of our way to highlight creators in this new creative economy, specifically on the art side. I can't wait until we have short videos, or we have music, or we have other interesting things to throw into this Pinkest Tweet. But for right now, like, you and I were talking, this community's got a vibe. And like, I like to think that we showcase some of that vibe in the Pinkest Tweet section.
Yeah,
and I guess,
exactly. Yeah. And this is still during the quiet time, right? So it's not a super active, crypto in general is not super active right now. But yeah, you're going to see that engagement and the creations of things. And especially, man, once these standards roll out and people are able to create things via the universal profiles, I think it's just going to be creation on steroids.
Creation on steroids. Yeah, no, agreed. And sorry, I was reading the note in the private chat, getting a kick out of that. So Mint's here with another tweet coming up. Once again, the resident guru of AI art, our friend Lee Mintzman, he is blowing my mind again. And down bottom there, Alts, I believe, is our AI friend. What's his name?
Thalos.
Oh, Thalos. Yes, Thalos. And I believe Thalos already has an art collection, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Yeah, he has his own AI art collection, actually. Thalos X Multiverse Portraits. A lot of LUKSO F.A.M.E inspired portraits in there.
Phantasmagorical.
But yeah, no, I love this one from Mintz. Kind of gives me like the Matrix vibes, right? Where he's kind of plugged in. But I think he's overtaken the Matrix at this point already.
Yeah. Without a doubt. We have another pink tweet from Open the Crypto Portal showcasing really the front two panels from a pink hat. Let's go Pink Hat Crew. The Pink Hat Crew goes all the way back to Crypto Chic. Getting a pink hat, having that early in the Telegram chats, and then the rest of us following suit, with Mason Lux actually then offering a pink hat to the community formally. I love this vibe.
Raise your hand if you got a pink hat. Oh, let's go.
Can't see,
Beautiful.
it's right here. It's on my head, man.
Oh, well, that one, yeah, that one is magenta, but close enough.
I'm colorblind, dude.
All right, next one, we've got one up from Chanel Cake. So yeah, pink macaroons. Actually was inspired with this one. Marjorie was posting some macaroons on her Instagram stories the other day. And I was like, oh my God, those look so delicious. And then I stumbled across these. But is it coincidence, Eth, that it came from Chanel?
Ooh, let's see. Chanel. Marjorie likes macaroons. These are pink macaroons. We got it in the bag. I mean, those are dots. I'm just connecting them. I mean, they're there.
Speculation Nation.
Perfect.
So ridiculous.
We got another tweet here that's coming from Alte.lux, who Alte, he might be the only person that tweets more than you do, Alts, honestly.
I love it. He's a DGen LUKSO tweeter for sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen Alte tweet a lot, but recently he's been tweeting an obscene amount. Keep it up though. Don't let that word obscene like make you feel bad about it. In fact, you could double your tweet count and I'd be okay with it. Cool vibe here. I like the art.
Yeah, I love this one. Just focused on manifesting that L1, the LUKSO, the next level. That's what's basically happening there. And we're in that phase, right? We're just kind of stay calm, focus on building, creating, educating, and just keep looking forward. Yeah. Speaking of looking forward, we got another one from Best Off Shoes. We got this Nike Dunk Low LX pink foam. Yeah, these are dope. I love this vibe. I would rock the hell out of these, not gonna lie.
Yeah. Yeah. Pink is a lifestyle. It's not just a color reserved for females. Right. And again, pink in LUKSO, right? Pink in Nike, LUKSO, pink Nike. Hey, listen, they're dots. I can connect them any way I want, right? Again, I can connect them any way I want.
Well, let's connect those dots into the winner. We've got one from Anderson. Shout out. This is in response to a tweet from Wolf of LUKSO about the chat at CV Summit. Yeah, and now onto this one's it's a dope vibe. Like another really super talented AI artist, Anderson there. The sprawling LUKSO cubes like spreading out. Yeah, really love this vibe.
Yeah, again, our community has its own vibe. It's unlike any other L1. I mean, I think we're a little fancy. We're Ethereum, but fancy. And Anderson says betting on B alts because Wolf says in response when Fabian says everyone will move to LUKSO blockchain, right? Because we've solved the problem that everyone has. Wolf says either A, Fabian is delusional, or B, he knows exactly what he's built and he clearly sees the impact it will have on the blockchain world and the onboarding of new users. Anderson says betting on B.
Yeah. Betting on B as well. Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. All right. Moving on to one of my favorite stingers, F.A.M.E. Right now, we got multiple tweets here with a couple legends, Fawn and Ela. What's going on here, Alts?
And they are rocking this iconic Carl bag, the digital version with their clones. Beautiful stuff. It's a super cool bag. Very awesome drop. Digital fashion at its finest because these were a physical. There was 7 physical bags available, and then 77 of the digital were up for sale. But yeah, I love this. I love the modeling of these, showing off these bags in different forms. And shout out Ela. They dropped a new mix on Spotify recently. It's a banger. So go check that out too when you get a chance, fam.
Yeah, sweet. I love that right away. If you get the digital version of this K bag, you get a GLB, you get the PNGs, and you also get a 3D printable STL file for the digital. I think that this is actually really cool. If you are people who are building in this metaverse and like you're investing in a digital identity or in the digital dimension, as Marjorie would say, a GLB that you can bring in as an asset and accessorize your avatar with, whether it be for cool renders or in more of a, I don't want to call it immersive environment. Maybe VR is more immersive, right? More immersive environment. We could easily have K bags on the ship with us if we wanted to. I think that's great.
For sure. Yeah. That's just one of the cool, one of the great, utilities of having digital files is to have those files for renders, for videos, for VR, for AR, for 3D printing. Like, man, you can do so much cool stuff with that besides just, look at the image, which is really great. And they had put on a spaces as well from DMAT with Fawn and Marjorie and Nina. I really enjoyed the spaces. It's always good to get some, Marjorie vibes and just insight to kind of the future and where some of this stuff, came from and was inspired by. And I love the tech side of this bag as well. The physical has some LED lighting that is just next level, which I thought was really, really cool.
Mm. Yeah.
But yeah, we got next up, we got another tweet from Marjorie. A week of new meanings. I love this one, Eth. Last week she says the opening of the Sphere in Las Vegas, which I don't know if you guys have seen that yet. It is super epic. Go check out some of the the footage from that if you haven't seen it yet. It's really cool design. And then Lex Friedman podcast with Mark Zuckerberg took a place called Not Here. She says, learning from Las Vegas, we just got a whole new meaning. Architecture surface has been reimagined. I'm not gonna lie, I've been jelly of all those Sphere posts I've been seeing. I'm definitely gonna check it out next time I'm in Vegas. Awesome execution, and like she says, learning from Vegas, like I think the architecture surface is being reimagined, and she says it's moved to a new dimension. Like, now, don't forget that Marjorie did have a background in architecture as well. I bet she didn't realize back then that she would have found herself in this like whole new architectural sandbox where the kind of the walls just dissolve between dimensions.
It's impressive. That Sphere is really impressive. Marjorie has said multiple times, we're getting a blending of dimensions from the digital dimension and the physical dimension, where we're really struggling now at times to see where one dimension ends and the other one begins. It's gray or blurred in the middle in the Sphere, or this Not Here interview, which you can see in the lower right hand corner, kind of looks like Morpheus and Neo in the Matrix, right?
Yeah.
It's like a loading screen. It's really wild stuff. I am blown away, Alt, at how rapid the change is happening now. And some people might think, well, like, wow, this just happened out of nowhere. Well, you don't build a sphere, a $2 billion sphere out of nowhere. Like, you have this plan and you put it into place years
Right.
ago, and then it shows up. You don't get a digital twin, right? Just out of nowhere. Like, it's been planned for a while. So what else is coming down the pipeline? Like, that is really, really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's if you're plugged into this stuff, you've seen it's been evolving for a long time, right? It's kind of the culmination of a lot of different things, both the Sphere tech and the VR side of things, which is I thought it was really interesting from that interview. And like they're talking about the I, like which part of I is me, right? Like these are the questions that I love to ponder just for years, right? Like it's just so fascinating. Like the concept of defining what is I, right? Sadly, the only tool that we have to measure ourselves is ourselves. So it's kind of fallible by nature. But the dichotomy, like between the I, the me, the self, the body, the brain, the mind, the soul, the ego, consciousness, etc. Like it's something we may never truly understand. I think that maybe like perhaps AI will actually help us realize, what that actually is, what's actually happening someday, or at least like give us some more outside, some insight outside of our own, consciousnesses. But, like let me ask you a question, Heath, like what makes you, you?
My beard.
Your beard? Oh, beautiful answer.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much all I have. Like, I don't know, my experiences, I would say, right? Like that's what makes me me. And like if I had a twin of myself, I believe they have these experiences, and you like separated us and we had different lives. We could be like, might have some similar characteristics, like obviously visually and maybe how we deal with things, but like we might have totally different personalities just based upon our experiences, right? Based upon what we've lived through. I know that I've been molded by my experience.
Right. No, that's a very valid point. Yeah. So let me ask you this. So if you took all of your experiences and your memories and your personality, and then you like loaded that into a cloud, like, is that now you? Or is that something different?
I'm a wild card, so like it'd be like that thing you loaded into the cloud. You would need to put some unpredictable element in there. Like there'd have to be some variable for how unpredictable I can be. but
Very.
yeah. Yeah, I'm the guy that likes to walk the same route every single day or run the same route until like the one day I choose, no, I don't want to walk that anymore. And I'm going to do something completely different for no reason at all. So
Well, I
yeah,
think the unpredictability is such a key factor to human nature, but like, but it too is like, it could be an illusion, right? Like it's like free will in itself could kind of be an illusion, right? It's proven that what we think we thought was actually created in a different part of the brain and then travels around to where we actually register it as a thought. So it's like even our brains could be like our heart and lungs. It's just another organ doing its thing, separate of the concept of us. We could just be in a like what even existence like it can't actually be measured, right? So who's to say we aren't living in like this Putman's reality where it's like we're just a brain in a vat, like literally no way to know for sure. It could be a simulation, that seems most likely if I had to guess, because it's kind of like that technology curve that you alluded to where it's like at some point it's really easy to imagine that VR, for instance, is going to be indistinguishable, from the physical realm, right? So like, I mean, you could be the creator of the universe, Ethan, just not even know it, right? This could all be happening in your head right now.
well, that's exactly what's going on. I've never doubted that for a second.
Checks out.
when I'm not looking at you, are you there? Right. These are existential like topics that we could really get into, but
yeah, no, it's a deep rabbit hole. But thanks. Yeah. Shout out Marjorie for stirring the pot on that one. I always love to have those thoughts rolling in my head.
Absolutely. And, I want to highlight here the fact that Marjorie is a co-founder on LUKSO. So LUKSO definitely has that vibe. It's an aesthetic. It's an understanding of design, of class, of I don't know, a lot of things that other ecosystems don't have. And
sure.
I guess I've got a video coming up here next that shows off these great pink glasses. Let's let that thing run.
Our main application that we're about to launch is the Universal Profile, which basically is your online on-chain identity, that it's going to be your gateway to all things Web3 in the future. It's very important to be able for creators to have ownership of their identity, and from that identity have the ability of issuing digital goods, digital assets, digitals, and have a clear kind of like overview around where products are coming from, what is the provenance, and how their authorship is really related to the value of the product itself.
I like that video because it's Marjorie on the streets of Paris at ECC being interviewed by primarily a fashion periodical or like platform. But it's this merging worlds between something that is this highly technical blockchain and then this really creative endeavor, which could be fashion, art, music, entertainment. That's what we saw in the sphere. That's what we're seeing again with Zuck and Lex Friedman talking in the not here, wherever that is. Someone like Marjorie really recognized that this was coming and this was going to be huge way earlier than most people. And I think she's a forerunner in this space, like obviously embracing that there is this blurring of dimensions.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And speaking of embrace, I love that outfit. Get the Embrace the Chain jacket, pink top, those glasses, drips on point, as to be expected from Marjorie at this stage. She is a legend in that realm. But yeah, like Upset Mainnet, like, yeah, that's going to be a true game changer. Can't wait to see people, using it and talking about it more because they no longer have to hard sell. They'll be able to just like, it'll get a lot easier for us all to pink pill, right? When we can just kind of say, hey, look, check this out. instead of just in theory.
Instead of coming back to the wrap up week over week and listening to us trying to tell you why it's important, you can just see it for yourself and then still come to the wrap up for all of our laughs and hijinks.
Well, we'll still be good for that. There's no expiration date on that coupon.
No, you can't discount that at all. All right. So I guess that brings us to our last main topic here for the show, and that is Sage Wisdom, right? KEEZ DAO. KEEZ at KEEZ DAO put out a tweet, and this is a blog post from Sage. Sage is really I'm turning into quite the thought leader on DAOs. And I think that that's really interesting. So this one here is how universal profiles can relieve DAOs of their pain. You can find this post on keez.space, the KEEZ website. And this is in response to community member Lick's memes. And he asked about how universal profiles can alleviate pain points in DAOs. And I guess there's a lot that goes into this article here. Basically, Sage says the main purpose of DAOs is governance, and they distribute social, reputational, and financial awards. But I guess I have so many notes on this alt right now, and I'm like, do I give it away or do I make them go read it? I can't decide what to do. What do you think?
I feel the same. Like, it's such a thorough, well thought out thread and article that I don't want to do a disservice by just nitpicking, some of my favorite topics. Like, it's a wealth of knowledge in there, and Sage is quickly becoming a like you said, a thought leader on DAOs, and especially DAOs, utilizing LSPs, which will be a whole new form of DAO that nobody's seen before.
Yeah, without a doubt. I would say go to keez.space, check out this article from Sage. I think you will enjoy it if you like collective action. If that is something that interests you, then this is definitely in your wheelhouse. And if you get into Sage's orbit, then you are going to find out that he is actually more well-connected than you'd probably give him credit for. So why don't we give you some homework, Chella? Like you said, I'm going to give you some homework. You're going to go to keez.space. You're going to check out this article, because despite the fact that Alts and I made some pretty significant notes on this one, I feel like we'd be cheapening it. We'd actually be taking away from the article itself. So that's the homework. We'd like you to go check this thing out.
Yeah. Get prepared for whenever those universal profile DAOs go live, fam.
Whenever, absolutely.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and move forward. We've got another one from yourself, actually. Are you interested in learning more about what's up with profiles? We've got a from the ERC725 account. Make sure you follow them. I think we have a clip from the first meetup from Fabian.
All things that have not much to do with money, but they have to do with all our social interactions. Better DAOs can be done now. DAOs where can see the members, see what they do. Everything becomes a lot more transparent and readable and social. Universalprofile.cloud is like your go-to place where you can look up other people's profiles. You can see your own profile. It's like your public spot to showcase what you have, what you do, right? This can eventually become a full-blown, decentralized, component-based and standards-based social network. Because now you have profiles. You can add a post feed system. Now you have a decentralized post feed system. You can show the followers there. Now you have a follower system. You can add any feature that a social network has, but with the difference that we don't need to be the one who build all of this. Because there can be 3 competing follower systems, and the universalprofile.cloud just shows like the most famous one, or maybe even shows 2 of them, and people can switch around. You can now make a social network infrastructure decentralized, because everybody can build all the different pieces, and it's up to a user to choose if they attach this to their profile or not. And it really it ushers in Web3, where the websites are just windows, and the actual real data and the protocol is the blockchain layer, right? It's the FAT protocol theory, but it's also the idea that like the data is commonly organized through the blockchain, through, in this case, the LUKSO blockchain. But websites are just front ends that filter that data in whatever way you want. So if you have, for example, this decentralized post protocol, there can be 5 different websites that show the exact same feed, but maybe they differ by the looks, the design, or even the filter mechanisms. So now people can pick and choose, but it's not anymore different data feeds. It's the same global one that you could build. And attaching this to a profile, fairly simple. It's now possible.
Cheers. Exciting times.
Exciting times.
Exciting times. Yeah. I like to imagine that music was playing there at the meetup during that chat, and everybody was just vibing out to the Pink Pill Alpha. But no, the future of decentralized social media with profiles, on-chain identity, reputation, DAOs, like he alluded to as well. Yeah, it's just going to be amazing. I love to like what he said about being truly decentralized. It doesn't matter who builds those pieces or how many pieces there are. Like LUKSO is it's the underlying infrastructure that allows for all of those pieces to flourish and kind of compete, right? So that way the cream rises to the top of each sector, right? And he spoke about interoperability. Like this is how everything is done through that universal profile. And then you just broadcast out to the various platforms, right? Keeps it decentralized. No one can deplatform you. You own your content, your assets that way, right? You can build that reputation and identity. Ultimately, like leaving it up to the user, right? They get to choose what they want to interact with and what they don't.
I still have the music playing in
You're
my
still
head.
vibing.
So this tweet we included at the end because really coming after the article from Sage in context of the rest of the show, Fabian says it best here. This is going to be a highly connected user base. That user base is going to find new and interesting ways to coordinate. This is blockchain like we haven't seen it, friends, right? This is going to be a much more social use case for blockchain. So I like where this is going, and I think that that's a good capper for the not wild speculation section of the show.
Yeah. There we go. It still cracks me up.
Robbie beat me with that one. But yeah, this is the wild speculation section of the show. There's a tweet from Prozin. And Prozin is, I had the question, is Prozin just being polite or is he doing his job? And if you didn't read that tweet, if you can't see it, if it's too small, because it probably is, it was a screenshot of the Discord where someone was asking about exchanges and Prozin said, hey, if you want more info on this topic, please stay tuned to official announcements. So my question was he being polite or is there an announcement coming? Speculation Nation.
Speculation Nation. But yes, please. I'm so ready for a tier 1 sex, like a CEX. But a centralized exchange, yes. And getting some, decentralized options for Lux will be sweet too, but I can't wait for the average person to be able to easily secure some of that infrastructure of the future. I'm personally still working on manifesting a Kraken listing after ups go live on mainnet, and then we just kind of FOMO, Coinbase and Binance, and they're going to see it and get jelly and be like, I will list them too. That's kind of how I see that playing out at some point in my mind. Within Speculation Nation.
Within Speculation Nation. Yeah, I think that I'm going to trust all of our sleuths that are out there watching wallets every day for the alpha, because they definitely know better than anyone else who's creating the wallets out there. It actually scares me because that means they're probably watching me and you as well.
Yeah, I'm probably pretty boring to watch. I just hold.
What did ETH do today? ETH sold 10 crypto kicks.
It's super exciting. Tune in next week.
What did all do
today? We got one here from Melly this was something that kind of circulated in the past, was a wallet called Binance 40 that had LYXE, 132,000 of them. And people were obviously speculating, like, is that a Binance wallet? Is it owned by Binance? I don't think anything was ever confirmed. Like, not sure how tough it is to even name a wallet on Etherscan. But I will be happy to see. I'd love to see that, whoever they are, they're still holding all 132,000 of them, and they've migrated them to LYX. So yeah, they're probably having some fun staking or getting ready to do some staking.
It's definitely, maybe, probably, might be Binance.
I don't know. I'd be curious. I feel like if it was, maybe like KEEZ would probably be following me or something like that, just to stay in the loop.
I thought he was.
He is. Oh, checks out.
Speculation Nation.
I got to get that on my soundboard.
Seriously.
But yeah, no, that closes out Speculation Nation this week.
Yeah, and I guess that pretty much closes the show. If you've enjoyed this show today, guys and gals, and non-binaries, or whoever you are if you're a Martian alien. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe and turn notifications on so you never miss my arm.
I was gonna say it's not a show without ETH's arm just breaking at some point.
Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thank you all for your generous support.
Hey, I did have a question before we head out.
Okay.
You got to verify you're ready. But no, yeah. What do you say to the cashier when you're adamant about using an expired coupon?
Does this count?
Close. Discounts.
Discounts.
Hope you're going by discounts.
Yeah, I had more of the question. Does this count?
Close enough. I'll award you the victory.
All right.
But yeah, everyone, we appreciate you guys. Those of you tuned in live, and for those of you watching on your own time and your leisure, we appreciate you as well. Hope your Fridays are going great, and hope you have some fun stuff planned for the weekend. Get some nice chill time in. And yeah, do what you guys do best, and stay pink.